wherever you go in this town, the topic is the Golden Knights and the Stanley Cup. And what a great icebreaker for us that are in the business of networking and getting to know different people and what they do. It has become kind of such an easy topic of conversation, right? And so hopefully Game 5 we're going to win and move on to the next two. Today we're just going to simply talk on a couple of different topics that, as Nancy's already pointed out to, and that is just simply how can the agent that has the client come alongside the new home sales agent and make it a seamless transaction. So as you can see, we've already addressed we're going to talk about the best practices, creating business relationships, and hopefully ultimately selling more new homes with Woodside. Woodside is a local home builder here, been in the business, been here locally for about 40 years. We actually have one of our representatives here today. I hope that you take the time to learn about his product because it's kind of an entry-level price point that's very hard to find. In fact, there was an excellent article in CNN today. If you haven't already seen it, I can forward it to you, talking about the affordability of homes and how really we are going to get out of the reach of the average income in no time at all. So let's be mindful of that as we're talking to our clients and creating urgency. Stephen Covey is, you may have heard of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of his 7 topics that he talks on is seek first to understand. And so I felt like if we can, as resale agents, first understand the role of that business partnership that's across the table from us, perhaps that will then help educate us to the place where we can roll into better helping our client. So if our goal is to first seek to understand the new home sales agent and what they do, I'm going to just kind of run down a very brief role of a new home sales agent. We refer to it in the business as what we call the critical path. Okay, anybody that has new home agent experience has gone through new home sales training, they know that the critical path. Okay, really in essence, the critical path with new home sales agents, it's all about meeting and greeting and breaking the ice. How about those golden nights, right? And discovering what the customer wants and needs. I like to refer to those as their top 3 to 5 must-haves. It's probably where you start with most of your clients, discovering exactly what is important to them in a new home. And it's more than just about budget. It's about wants and needs. What is it about their current home that they love? What is it about their home that they would change if they could, right? So getting that discovery process, then demonstrating the home that hopefully fits their needs the best. I would hate to think that at least any of the agents that I work with hand you a price sheet and say, let me know if you have any questions. That's not what it's about. Let's discover the client's wants and needs, and then let's find the floor plan that fits either their timing perhaps on an inventory like what's on the flyer, or maybe it's more about designing to their specifications. Then the next step is to go out onto the job site and finding that right home site that we're going to build that home for them at. And a lot of times this is the driving factor. It's less about the floor plan, it's more about the location. So that knowledge helps the on-site agent know where to start. And then overcoming any concerns. A good sales professional is going to utilize their incentive at this point because they're either going to overcome, maybe they have a home that's completed, it's just not quite 100% perfect. Well, I understand that you would not have paid this $5,000 additional for this feature. What if I could get that thrown in for free? Now what we've done is we've overcome the objection of how the house doesn't fit perfect with money. And sometimes money does solve some problems. And that's usually how the incentive is utilized. Either overcoming objections, or sometimes it's a closing tool. And we're going to talk a little bit about the timing of that incentive. And then, of course, asking for the close. We are just information givers if we don't actually ask that customer to write the check. And one of the key things that happens after we are bold enough to ask them, would you like to move forward with that purchase today? You'll notice I put it in bold, is be quiet, stop talking. Something that sales professionals on either side of the table struggle with occasionally. You'll notice in my little design here, we just went through the critical path, and there in their hand is that red piece, and that red piece represents you. The key to your client's success will be the additional role you, their agent, will play in the sales path. Because that is what we just talked about, is what the new home sales professional does, and now you bring a whole different dynamic to that process. And we recognize the importance of your role. We thank you for your business and the opportunity to serve you by serving your clients. And equally as important is that we want to partner to ultimately get to the end goal, which is what it's all about. One of the other subjects that Stephen Covey talks about in his 7 effective habits is a win-win mentality. Oftentimes, it's easy to think that you are here to save the day with your client's best interest in mind, and that can create a competitive, combative approach if we're not careful, because you think that you have to go into the battlefield and fight on their behalf, which is not really what our heart and our intention is about. When it comes to new home sales professionals also want to come alongside and serve your client, or more importantly, serve you by serving your client. And so our goal is to just simply come with an approach that says, we're in this together to ultimately serve your client's best needs. New home agents know, they already know, that the discovery is the key to a solid foundation. And if we don't do the discovery up front, guess what? You can't do a summary close at the end. Because if I didn't discover that the top 3 most important things to that customer are A, B, and C, then when I go to the end and I go for the close, I can't say, well, Mr. Jones, based on A, B, and C, this home is everything you're looking for. So the discovery is so crucial on the front end, and new home agents know that. Well, guess what? Your clients are counting on you to not force that new home agent to go through the peeling back of all of those layers. Does that make sense? When you think about it from the sense that you're the one that's invested all of the time to discover, welcome guys, welcome. You've gone through all of that time to discover their true motivation. Listen, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know, I just want to pack everything I own and move it to another part of the state or another part of the country. It doesn't happen like that. If they're moving because something in life is happening. You talk to customers and you find out their story, you know this. Their mom is aging and they need to have a place for mom. Their kids have moved out and now their big empty house is very lonely. The emotion behind their transition in life is their true story. And as you've discovered that and you've done the hard labor that it takes to tap into that emotion of what is really important to them, the new home agent, the last thing you want to do is put your client through, we're going to go to another community and another community and another community, and now that new home agent has to peel back the layer and then peel it back again. Sometimes we're dealing with raw emotions. And maybe your client is done, or just maybe just a little blocked and saying, you know what, I don't really want to tell this stranger that I'm moving because my mom needs to move in with me. I'm over it. And so your key role in sharing the knowledge is being able to help the new home agent understand that motivating factor in addition to the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $275 price point, right? That's mechanics. We want to be able to tap into that emotional side, and the more you share with that new home agent, the better they know how to wrap A, the close, and B, the process with that buyer along the way. We talked a little bit about incentive and how the new home agent is hopefully going to utilize the incentive as a closing tool or overcoming objections. The problem oftentimes is that, again, when you walk into the new home sales process, it's very comfortable to immediately start firing questions at that new home agent, because questions are safe. Instead of sharing knowledge, instead of sharing insight, it's easier to be, tell me everything I need to know. And one of the drawbacks to that is, honestly, you miss the shot. Because if you together will take the process of the new home salesperson and unite yourself, not ask about, for example, prematurely asking about the incentive, right? You walk in, hi, my name is Joe, I'm with Century 21. What is your incentive today? You've totally just deflated one of the best closing tools and objection overcomers that our new home agent has in their pocket. And that is a crucial missed shot. For those of you that love the Golden Knights, you know that we are down and we need to win 3 games. And if there's anything about missing a crucial shot or having a goalie that doesn't protect the shot, it's that we know right now this is probably the key factor in sales process. And I encourage you to help, and I also want to back up and say, you will experience new home agents that miss the shop. Hi, welcome to Sunshine Community. My name is Diana. We're giving away $35,000 today. I know they're out there, guys. I know, and I apologize on behalf of all the new home sales industry, because when they miss the shot, what they don't understand is, okay, ladies, you can appreciate this. I'm selling purses today. My purse is 75% off. That is the best discount I can offer you. Guess what? You don't know if I'm talking about a Louis Vuitton or the plastic Kmart bag down the street. Is there a difference in your mind immediately when I just told you the difference between 75% off the Kmart plastic versus the Louis Vuitton? So when the new home agent leads with that deal, what they have missed is their value. Let me present value to you, Mr. Jones, who you have a story, and you're wanting to purchase a specific, you have a need in your life, right? You have a story of what's going on. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to discover what that story is. I'm going to present how my product fits your needs. I'm going to give you this future promise that's going to cure the current dissatisfaction. And in return, when we utilize the incentive, this incredible value just got even more valuable. And unfortunately, I recognize that oftentimes it's easy to miss the shot. So if we will keep that in the back of our mind as we are progressing with new homes. Now, unfortunately, I think my slide didn't quite capitalize on the screen, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read it from here. A couple of we don't want to do's, and then a couple of not a bad idea to consider, okay? And a lot of this I will share with you prior to Nancy and Ragnar wrote me the end of this. And by the way, Ragnar is here to share with you about his incredible price point and gated community that is a wonderful value for your clients. Please take the time to speak with Ragnar and notice our price sheets. I've made a few phone calls. Top producers. Hey, tell me something. Tell me a couple of your worst new home sales experience. Tell me some of your best. Called a couple of new home agents. Talk to Nancy. So this information is not just based on my own 25 years in the business, but it's also based on feedback of others, which I think is so important to get the insight of what is really happening in the real world. So if something I say seems so like I would never do that, I apologize. Because it's not meant to insult anybody in the room. It's just in order to help make sure that we consciously think about it from the standpoint of what does and doesn't work. So the first one I say with graciousness, please don't discuss commissions in front of your clients. Is that a given? We can all agree, right? Unfortunately, it's not uncommon where we've seen new home agents that'll volunteer. Hey, just so you know, you're gonna get paid X amount. Look, that's not our motivating factor. Our motivating factor, I know the top agents like yourselves, your motivating factor is to meet your clients' wants and needs. And the fact that you, just like Zig Ziglar said, you help enough people get what they want, and ultimately you'll get what you want. We know that you're just looking to pay your bills as well, and so be mindful not to discuss your commission around clients. Don't confuse the client with too many details. We all know people buy on emotion, they justify with logic. Okay? They buy on emotion, then they justify that purchase. That's why buyer's remorse is so big. That's why the follow-up after the close is so important. Because they get emotionally excited. Think about the way you buy something. You see it, you may or may not need it, but you really kind of like it. And you're starting to get excited. And you're building value on it. Maybe you're logically talking yourself through it, you make the purchase, and now you're like, ooh, was that a big purchase? Was that a mistake? And you're questioning. You're reading articles. We see our clients bring back their friends. They'll bring back their sister. They'll bring back their coworkers because they need that reassurance that I've made a good purchase. That's why it's so important that a new home agent not just send them out the door with their friend. They bought 3 weeks ago, and now they're back with their girlfriend. That girlfriend's influence is important. Would you guys agree? Because if that girlfriend is a jealous, petty girlfriend, that's slamming the house, you now have competition that you didn't even realize. You thought the girlfriend was there to support her friend. It doesn't always work like that. So when I say don't confuse your clients with the details, one of the things that new home process, it's a 6-month process. We start with the contract. We give them a lot of do's and don'ts of what deadlines and timelines are. We require them to make a lot of selections on, do you want the bedroom, or do you want the den, do you want the covered patio, do you want the 3-car garage? Now their brain is on overload. The next step is they have to sit down with a professional designer and figure out how they're going to do the cabinets and the countertops, and they're looking at home goods and what is the HGTV television show, right? And their brain is swirling. We do a really good job of overwhelming customers during the process. What we don't want to do is on the front end, when your client is just walking through the door and we're trying to get them big picture emotionally excited, and all of a sudden now we're going to drill in on, well, is the ceiling fan pre-wire included? Can I expect to get this cable jack? Because now all of these nitpicking details takes your client and they mentally flood, if my husband calls it flooding. And basically what happens is our brain reaches a point where it goes ding, 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 overload, overload, I can't think anymore. I need to go home and rest, right? We don't want to do that to our clients. And new homes do a really good job of doing that anyway. So one of the things we want to do as a team is we want to find out their big picture wants and needs, get them emotionally excited, close the deal, then we can overwhelm them all day long. The next point is try not to be the expert on the community. Let the on-site agent fully present all of the amenities, the fees, and the features. And then add your value by asking some high-level questions. And what I mean by that is you have established that relationship. You are already their confidant. They respect you. They appreciate what you've invested in them. If you, on the front end, are able to set the expectation that says, we're going to go to a lot of different places, and we're going to allow the professional of that location to fully let you experience everything they have to offer, and then I will be there on the back end for you with the details. If you will set that expectation out the door, your client will trust you when you step back and you let the new home agent do their job. It's similar to, I'm not the inspector, I'm going to let the inspector do their job. I'm not the title company, I'm going to let the title company do their job. When you maintain those healthy boundaries and you allow the on-site agent to be the expert of their community, what ends up happening is your client gets their confidence built because the professional of that community is allowed to do their fullness of the experience. And then you, on the back end, when it's all said and done, are able to come in with some key questions, and we'll address some of those, where your client's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good question. Because now you look so smart because the agent addressed everything, but they missed this key thing over here that's so important to your client. So you get to be the hero, just in a different way. One of the things that I've seen myself guilty of, I've worked for more than one home builder in town. I got in the business in '93, I'm actually a native. And so yes, he's like, yes, native. Alumni of Faith Lutheran. And I've seen myself make the mistake when I've transitioned from one builder to another, that I already knew what I needed to know. Okay. Only to discover that one builder's contract, one builder's process, one builder's expectations were completely different than another. And so I'm going to encourage you, just based on my own mistakes, that if you've sold a new home with one builder, doesn't mean that you know what another builder expects of their customers or contract or timelines. I'll give you an example. Several builders, but not all, several builders will give your client a 30-day window to get loan approved. If they do not get loan approved, they get their money back. Some builders, after the 5-day Nevada law right of rescission requirement, money goes hard, no questions asked. You should know what you can afford. So that's just one example of ways that you can protect your client without assuming that your resale experience or your previous builder experience is going to get you through the next experience. I hope this one comes out okay. I can move this over or even send it out to you if you think that there's value in this slide for you. Because one of the things that we've done is up to this point, we've talked about what to be careful, what to stay away from, try not to go down this road. But now what's more important and why I saved it for the end is because this is where the resale agent with your client becomes so crucial. And that is making sure that if the on-site agent drops the ball and doesn't address some of these questions, you want to make sure that you do, okay? So for example, right now, I don't want to throw too many wrong numbers out there, but I would say 30,000 in the last 6 months, am I exaggerating? Is that what our price increases have been? Ragnar could probably get me closer.
Probably a little bit more in some cases, but absolutely, everything's going up.
Yeah. So let's just, from a conservative standpoint, assume that the prices have gone up 30,000 in the last 6 months. If you have a client that the new home agent has presented everything, and you're about to walk out the door because you have more homes to show them, and you miss the shot that says, hey, do you have a price increase scheduled? Ragnar, what was some of your largest price increases overnight?
We had one that was actually $10,000, and I did have a little bit of warning from somebody, and people seem to be oblivious. They don't seem to think that it's going to stop. What I tell people is this: it's not some God-given right to own a house. It's not. Prices are going up, interest rates are going up. Everybody seems to be under the impression that 2 and 3% are normal, and it's not. For the younger people, Google the interest rates over the last 30 years. They come out at about 7%. I was doing this when they were 15 and 16. I wasn't doing much. But yeah, those pipes, they exist too. People don't realize that we used to be ecstatic if they got below 7. Yeah.
So we have a generation that doesn't know any different. And we've had customers where they've come back the next day, 2 or 3 days later, over the weekend, and the price went up $10,000. That means their payment just went up. And unfortunately, as angry as they are at us, they are legally represented by the resale agent. So I encourage you, not just as a closing tool, because that's a given, right? Not just to create urgency, because that's common sense, but just on behalf of the reality of our market right now, before you walk out the door of a new home community, the question should be, do you have a price increase plan? Because typically we will give the outside agent a heads up. Okay, I know several builders, and I don't need to necessarily refer to them specifically, but there's some builders that have a program, just every so many sales, the price goes up. So the on-site agent can tell you, when we sell number 4, price is going up. Other builders, it's the first of the month. Other builders, it's by phase. So, yes ma'am.
Do they have an amount, or do they just know it's gonna be going up? Are they given a specific amount of what it's gonna be going up?
That's a great question, and oftentimes no, because we want to create that urgency, because if we say, oh, it's gonna go up $500, it's not uncommon for the client to go, oh,
No big deal.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
make a decision on that,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
So we don't want to take away that tool.
Mhm.
The other factor, which is really the bigger factor, is we oftentimes don't know what our bids, our trades are gonna go up. Right now, you have no clue how many contractors are knocking back on our doors saying, sorry. I think lumber alone has had a 40% price increase just in the last 18 months, right? Yeah. There's a lovely tariff coming out of Canada that is hitting us hard. We thought as a government, hey, we'll just hit Canada with this tariff. Well, guess what? Canada turned around and hit us with it. So it's just the reality of our market that we're in. And a lot of the trades, when the downturn, they were doing whatever they could do to keep the doors open, so they were working off a very minimal profit, right? So now all of a sudden they're able to say, okay, well, I can pay my guys a little bit better, I can hire more. And in case you guys didn't notice the big hole in the ground over off of Russell, we're competing with the unions because our labor trades are so tight. And so it's really not driven by greed as much as a lot of times people think it's, oh, the capitalists are just driven by greed. It's truly driven by facts that we can't control. But great question, thank you. So we spent a little more time on that one than probably should have, but ask about price increases. Do you have any homes already under construction? So that obviously is a timing question. My clients have already sold their home, they need to get into something quicker, right? Oftentimes the builder, because we've already made those selections, we know that your client can't make those selections, maybe there's a little extra giveaway on that home. So that's always good to know, and that's a good following up question is, are you offering a greater discount on those? What's the build time for new construction? We started with a point where we could say you can be in your new home in 4 to 6 months from the time we break ground. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight, your customer comes in and contracts. Most builders are not going to physically break ground for 30 days. And so it's not uncommon, again, setting that right expectation. You contract January 1, all of January, no dirt's getting moved. What's wrong with you people? Are you broke? Well, no. To help you understand, there's at least a 30-day window of behind-the-scene factors. Master plan developers require things that have to be approved, permits, engineering, plotting, all of those behind-the-scenes things. It's like showing up at the play and all of a sudden the play is happening. You didn't see the hours and hours behind the scenes of practice. And that's really what we're doing, is we're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff before we break ground. So it's not uncommon for me to say 4 to 6 months once we break ground. So if you bought a home in January, you're looking at potentially May, June. Unfortunately, with our labor constraints right now, are we still in this year?
Yeah, at this point, we are still out of the in some places, we're running into this already.
Okay, so to give you kind of the range, and this is going to vary by builder, if your client bought a home today, depending on which community, they could be looking at 2019 before they moved in. Did this year fly by?
Yeah.
Wow, they're already talking about 2019. At Laguna, we could say to them, we probably could have you in your new home by the holidays. Does that fit your timeline? So there's a difference based on, and a good question to ask is, what's the build time for your new construction based on your community, square footage, location, so forth. How do your deposits work? That's another feature that varies by builders, okay? I can tell you Woodside does not collect structural deposits, which those are really kind of the big things that you're doing structurally, going down and having to pull the permit on. A lot of builders pick up 50%. So our structurals could run anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000, and your client's expected to come up with half of that at the time of contract. That's a big chunk. Now granted, it's going to be applied at the close of escrow, but still, that's 6-8 months away before they could have saved the down payment. At Woodside, we don't collect on the front end with our structurals. So those deposits are a key question so that your client kind of can budget accordingly. Maybe not every builder is for them if the deposits are that crazy on the front end. A couple of the other ones are, do you have a preferred lender? Is your incentive tied to the lender? And if my clients want an inspection, do you know the builder policy? If you want to spend any additional time on those, we can when it's time is convenient for you afterwards. I wish that. Yes. Have you heard this one?
It is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I will get somebody coming in. Nancy, I worked with Nancy before. Nancy's been in this business for a long time. I will have somebody in there, they will go through the house, they love the house, and the realtor says, we're gonna keep moving. We still have 4 more houses to look at. And I'm going, I'm being polite, but what the hell? Here's somebody who wants to buy a house
Surely you must, want to spend some time at home or do something. What on earth are you doing? The thing is I'll blank for a couple of minutes, okay? When you come in, I know about my community. I can go through the community, I can show. Don't let the first words out of your mouth, what's your commission? I have that more and more. It is, your client looks at me. The millennials, the younger people now, I was just reading, they are looking at new homes versus resales. They don't want to go through this whole thing about, fixing up. What happens is, normally, okay, I've been doing this for a little while, it can be a bit of a whatever, but what happens is this, here comes the realtor, here comes the partner, wife, whatever, and here comes the husband. The wife grinning from ear to ear, the husband down like this, he just wants the thing to stop. He's done. Guys look at garages. I don't know why. It's like guys want to open up the hood on the car. There's nothing in there we can do anything about. So let the agent do what the agent can do. That's what we're supposed to do. The next thing, your buyers will come and look at the new homes, even if you don't take them. They will come there without you. I can guarantee it. So many times we try to work with realtors. We were in resale for years and years and years. Your buyers will work around like sheep. They happen to be driving by. If they come in and tell me they're working with an agent, at least we've got something. But normally, if you're driving past a new home community, tell them you need to go to the bathroom, tell your clients, these people have the best water in the world, these people have whatever, go in. They're gonna come there without you. Out at Laguna where we are, North Las Vegas and 5th Street. When I was sent out there, I've been here a long time. And I'm thinking, oh my God, pig farm, okay. And North Las Vegas, but I was here when it was Hentucky too, and nobody admitted they lived down in Hentucky. The difference between the new North Las Vegas, the biggest issue we had down there was the pig farm. Pig farm's gone. On the left-hand side, offices and shopping. On the right-hand side, they had some cows and things. There is a master plan going in there. There's about 1,000 new homes. Across the 215, where 5th Street is, there's 9,000 homes going in. That's the villages of Tule Springs. 84% of the state is owned by the feds. It's a remarkable thing. Laguna, we basically sell with gated pool, HOA 65. 95% of what we do is VA. Lots and lots of cops, lots and lots of military, ex-military nurses, things like that. It's a wonderful business. It's a wonderful business to be in. But just bring them in and we'll work with them.
Good job. So yeah, we have more homes. We would encourage, if the opportunity is to close the deal and be done, take the rest of the afternoon off and close the deal, right? I know that again, if our mindset is win-win, then your goal is to come in, partner with the on-site agent in effort to get the new home for the client. That's the end goal. And the biggest thing we have to be careful with the new home agent is that they don't miss the shot too, right? Like, dude, do you not see my client's ready to buy? Stop talking. They're ready to write the check. And so at that point, you may have to step in and take control of the close. Okay, so what do we have to do to buy this house? Right? Because you see it. You see your clients ready to close. They're done. And unfortunately, the new home agent doesn't. So we recognize that it goes both ways. Couple of things that I can say based on the experience that we've seen that we would love to see you participate in. Attending all of the appointments. Whenever we're in the 5 or 6 month process and something comes up, your client's like, well, I thought I bought that stainless steel sink. The first question we're going to ask when you're on the phone with us saying, you know what, my client thought they bought this stainless steel sink, were you there? Because now what we have is we have he said, she said, right? That's all we have to go on. We have the paperwork that says they didn't buy the stainless steel sink. We have the designer that says they didn't buy the stainless steel sink. And we have a client who thought they bought the stainless steel sink. You can become the deciding factor in the experience. Because you can say, let me talk to your manager. I need you to understand, I was there. I know what they did and didn't buy, right? So you become the support of truth instead of just a he said, she said. And then one of the things that I will apologize for on behalf of all of the new home agents is oftentimes new home agents just go into autopilot and they just reach out to the customer, because it's not our client, it's our customer. There's a difference. You guys have been through real estate school, you know this. They're your clients. Our client is Woodside Homes, but they are a customer. And when you sign our broker agreement, you agree that you understand that we will be contacting your clients. But our goal as the new home agent, hopefully, is to respect the relationship that you play and the role that you play. That's always our ultimate goal. So it's going to be the new home agent needs to call you and say, hey, guess what? Tuesday at 2 is the frame walk. Oftentimes, new home agents will just reach out to the customer and say, Tuesday at 2 is your frame walk. So I would encourage you at the front end, set the expectation. Just so you know, Mr. On-Site Agent, I'm an agent that wants to be involved. Please be intentional to reach out to me anytime you reach out to my client. Because some resale agents say, I'm going to drop them off, call me when my check's ready. But oftentimes, that's not every resale agent's heart's desire. And so you help us by setting the expectation of what you want. Because it is unfortunate, new home agents could potentially go into autopilot and not remember the relationship. So you tell them your expectations. I want to be contacted at every point. I don't care, call me when my check is ready. You set the expectation, the on-site agent will follow it. I encourage you to attend those. I really do. I encourage you to attend them for the sake of the conversations, for your own knowledge, for future resale knowledge, right? Future resale, how great is it when you can walk into a community and say, I was at this community when they were being built. I can tell you, when I'm farming a resale community, I can tell you where not to hang a picture because of the pipes that are in the wall. And these kind of tools that are now in your toolbox for future resale opportunities. Setting the expectation, first with your client. As I said, the resale agent, the on-site agent may not be the great at keeping you in the loop. Let your clients know. Listen, if for any reason Ragnar over at Woodside reaches out to you and I'm not involved, please make sure. Put that expectation on your clients as well. You're entitled to that. And then the last thing is just touching base regularly. We would really hate for the resale agent to almost forget where the community was because the house took so long to build. So we encourage you to touch base with us on a regular basis. And hopefully our on-site agents will do the same for you. This is the other thing that I'm going to encourage you, the word contract. Bring your A game to the contract. That is probably the worst thing an on-site agent wants me to say. I can tell you that right now. Ragnar being the exception, most on-site agents would love the freedom to skim over this contract and not spend any time and attention on it and just move on to the details. And I'm going to encourage you, be your client's advocate. This is where your biggest value is going to be in, is ask questions about timelines, deposits, deadlines, refunds, and really drill into that contract and make that on-site agent earn the right to present a contract to your client. I feel very strong about that. If the on-site agent doesn't know their client, I would encourage you to hold them accountable to, if the on-site agent doesn't know the contract, hold them accountable to find out the answers to your questions. So you'll notice I've just gone through a lot of these questions. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is at the end of that contract experience, ask your on-site agent, can we please get a needs list for your lender? Do you have a needs list for the lender? Because you want to always send that client home with homework to stay engaged. Because buyer's remorse is big, and we know that after they've purchased a home. I encourage you, put them 15 credit cards or business cards in their pocket. hey guys, look, I know we've been working hard together trying to find you that home. The probability is when I take the next 2 days off, you're gonna be out there. Here's 15 of my cards. All I ask is that if you do wander into a new home community, link with my business card. Super simple, right? Now what you've done is when they walk into Ragnar's office, hey Ragnar, my name is Diana, I'm working with Sally over at Citrus 21, here's her card. You're covered. We actually have an on-site sales specialist, her number is on our card. We typically don't like agents to be able to just go through the phone book and register the world. However, we recognize that you have a life and there are things, circumstances happen. So if you've done your due diligence and one of our communities fits your needs the best and circumstances are such that you can't make it out there ahead of time, now usually we'll say go out ahead of time and register. But if circumstances are such, call Myra. Myra is also a great resource kind of as a general concierge. Hey, I've got this client, they're looking at this price point, this is where the side of town they want. What does Woodside have? Myra will help you with that. And then again, with the registration form, read your registration form because every builder pays different. Some of us, if we advertise on the MLS, GLVAR makes us pay on the advertised price. You may not be aware of that. If a builder is advertising on the MLS, GLVR expects them to pay on that total sales price. And there are some builders that are getting away with putting a home on the MLS at a sales price, but then only paying resale agents on the base. So there's a difference. You know, I encourage you to read that registration form. And I think that's everything. It is.
Sponsored by Mortgage by Design, located at 5598 South Fort Apache Road.